Hello and welcome to my Tarot Corner, and Merry Christmas to all of my Christian friends and dewdrops. And of course, it is just asking to be used the night before Christmas deck. It's just I have to use it. I mean, this is the day before Christmas or Christmas Eve today. And apparently, a few things happened with Prince Andrew lately. First, it appears that he's not going to get any more the taxpayer protection, but he had a very real life threats, and probably, it's not sure, it's claimed that King Charles is probably going to finance private protection for Prince Andrew from his own pocket, not from the sovereign grant, not from taxpayers' money, and that private protection will not be armed with guns, but only with tasers. Now, this evoked a lot of headlines and people that started speculating that this will cause Harry to start being angry and jealous and start crying. Why does Andrew get protection funded by the king and I do not? And I made a list, it's in Hebrew, so I have it here of differences between what Andrew is probably getting and what Harry wants. So first of all, Andrew is probably getting a private company security, and Harry wants the Metropolitan Police protection. What Andrew's protection will only use tasers, and Harry wants police protection that can use guns. Andrew had real, tangible life threats on his life, and Harry and Meghan not really. And the only police officer that came out and said that, I'm not sure how credible he was, but there were no real threats, as it was shown even in the Netflix documentary. There was no one going after them. And as it was said, King Charles probably will finance Prince Andrew's security privately. Harry wanted the taxpayer to pay for his security at first, and when he was told that no way that he would get state-funded police protection, he wanted the right to buy the Metropolitan Police protection himself. Now, what happened today was it was like King Charles was trying to show the state or the world that he's not supporting his brother, and even if he is paying for his protection, he's still not supporting him by kicking him out of Buckingham Palace. Now, it's not exactly kicking him out of Buckingham Palace. The real story behind that is that after Andrew stepped down from royal duties, he still had an office in Buckingham Palace with a small team of people that worked for him in that office. And what King Charles said is that Prince Andrew is not eligible to have an office in Buckingham Palace any longer, and he cannot use Buckingham Palace as his mailing address. And even Lady Susan Hassey can use Buckingham Palace as her mailing address. So this is like you can almost write to every member of the royal family via Buckingham Palace. So telling Prince Andrew that he cannot use Buckingham Palace as his mailing address is really severe, but it is seen as, to me, it seems like something more of a ceremony, a way of King Charles to distance themselves from Prince Andrew because of the scrutiny and because the people are still not so ready to accept Prince Andrew again back to the fold, and King Charles did tell Prince Andrew that there is no way back for him. Okay, so will Prince Harry start having a fit of jealousy against Prince Andrew? And what will be the cause of that? And or will he come out and blame his father for not financing his protection? Will that erupt in any way? Will it cause any kind of deepening of the rift between Harry and his family? So let's check. I'm going to do this. It's some sort of a horseshoe spread that is dedicated to jealousy. So before I start, please take a few moments to read my full disclaimer. It's in the description box. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourself. So let's just finish this and clear the deck. So, will Prince Harry start blaming his father for not financing his security, but financing Prince Andrew's security? Will he show jealousy at Prince Andrew because King Charles is financing Prince Andrew's protection and not his own protection? Will the fact that King Charles will finance Prince Andrew's protection deepen the rift between Harry and his family? Will Harry show anger and jealousy over the protection and the security question, and the fact that his father is not financing his security costs? Okay, so let's cut the deck. And let's start asking. So let me just, okay. So this is the right way. So the first card is the cause of the jealousy, or more likely, how does Prince Harry sees the situation, which is not exactly the reality, but the reality as Harry sees it. And what I'm getting here is the World card. So this is interesting because the World card is a card of endings and beginnings. It's also a card of perfection. And usually in the World card, we get this woman who is surrounded with a wreath of flowers or all sorts of vegetation. And here we have we have trees, we have all kinds of here we have a pumpkin, and I cannot see these small, this is a heart, but, and we have this swamp. So this is more of an eerie world card, and this is how Harry sees reality. So this is how Harry sees the world. And for Harry, the world is a very gloomy place. This is like going into a swamp for him. And he feels that for him, the royal family right now is this very deep swamp. He feels that he's finished that cycle of his life. He's started a new one. This is the end of one thing and the beginning of another. This is for him in a way something that is, because we're talking about jealousy, we see that he's very closed. It's very hard for him to get out of his boundary. He feels stuck, and it's very difficult for him to advance forward to the next stage. So he's looking back at the royal family all the time. So it's very hard for him to say, okay, I left the royal family. I don't need to look at what my father is doing for his brother, and to make notes or lists of what other members of the royal family are getting, because I am not eligible to get anything right now because I'm not part of the royal family. He's not doing that. He's not looking forward. He's looking backwards at the swamp that he thinks that the royal family is, and he's thinking about it, and he's jealous at what others are getting, and is unable to close that chapter completely. And so he's like peeping into between those trees, he's peeping into what he left behind him, and he's looking at what others are getting, and he's just jealous because he's feeling that he didn't get what he deserves. So this is a different world card, but it's still a card that shows a person that it's very hard for him to close a chapter and to start a new one. It's very hard for him to come and say, this is over and I'm starting something new. And that is why he's still looking backwards at his family and what Prince Andrew is getting. And somewhere inside of him, there is this turbulence that is starting. And this is why we get this turbulence in this World Cup. Okay, so what is the reality as it is? And we're getting the Three of Swords, or the Three of Needles here. Okay, so this is destruction and failure that comes because of being unable to see reality as it is. And when you cannot see reality as it is, you are ending up in destruction and failure because you cannot deal with reality. And this is exactly what we saw earlier. When you don't see the reality, when you don't see what has happened, what you did, you disengage from reality, and you are unable to deal with the effects of what you have done, and you end up with destruction and failure, and that is known in advance because you did all of those mistakes. You made the wrong choices, and you are now in this Three of Swords place. This is where Harry is right now. This is what he's feeling right now. It's like Every time someone gets something in the royal family, it's another needle that is being stuck in Harry's heart. And this is like another needle in Harry's heart. But this is a card that shows that he's unable to handle things. He is very much depressed. He is unable to struggle. He's unable to face problem. He's overlooking facts. This is a card of family fights. This is a card of rivalry. This is a card of a person that thinks that just happened by themselves. And and many people have been coming out with articles about what is coming up with the Sussexes. And there is this Australian journalist that is called Daniela Elser, and she wrote an article about the Sussexes and what is coming up with them. And she did a review of what they did in 2 years since they signed the contract with Netflix, and they talked about coming up with all sorts of inspiring, innovative, all sorts of amazing content, engaging content. And what they came up with was a documentary that was all about themselves, was completely, how do you say that? Biographic, that actually caused a lot of problems and a lot of and through a lot of accusations at the royal family, and a lot of shifting of blame shifting, a lot of accusations, I said, and you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is where he is now. This is the reality. So what are the resources that Harry has to deal with this problem that he has? And what I'm getting here is 5 of Potions. And 5 of Potions is the 5 of Cups, which is not a great card because 5 of Cups is a card of despair. But the 5 of Cups is a card of despair, but it is an unjustified despair. Now, this card is badly aspected because it comes right after the 3 of Swords. So we need to look at the negative aspects of this card as well. But you need to remember that why is it an unjustified despair? Because this person is looking at the 3 bottles that are spilled. He's not looking at the 2 bottles that he has behind him that are still full. And this is what is wrong with Harry, because he's not looking at the full cup, at the half full, at the full half of his glass. As someone said, with the Sussexes, there is no half full of the glass. Everything is empty. But that is not the reality. And if he opens his eyes, if he takes his hand off his eyes, if he starts dealing with reality, then he will be able to see these 2 bottles that are full and see reality as it is, and then realize that his depression, his despair is not justified, that he has something to go back to, that he has something to rely on, that he has something that he can take out. So this is a card that shows that reality is better than what he believes, but he's still depressed. He's not trusting anyone. He's desperate. This is a card of separation, actually, and this is a card of a person that is pessimistic, a person that is having problems with communications, not trusting, I said, lonely. He feels lonely. He's paranoid. He's not motivated to do anything, and he wants to give up. is actually very passive. So I really hope that he does open his eyes. But you know that I saw a video by A.G. Tudor that asked whether or not Harry will open his eyes and see that reality, and that wasn't a very promising video. Okay, so what can he focus on to move forward? And the card that I'm getting here is Three of Presents. Okay, so the Three of Presents is the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is a good card. Although it is badly aspected by the cards that came before it, but it is still a good card. And it's a card of recognition and reward. And we're talking about what can Harry focus in order to move forward. So this is a card that shows Harry that, first of all, it's a yes card. And it shows that he can focus on being recognized for the things, the positive things that he has done in the past, for the rewards that he can and did get in the past, for the advancement that he can achieve, because he does have qualities that he can manifest them if he decides to put himself in that direction. But he needs to realize, first of all, get out of that depression, get out of that despair, to see reality as it is, to see what are his real talents, what can he really do, and then start doing the things that he's good at. For example, because when he was in the royal family, he was very successful. He did the Invictus Games, he had his charities, he was very successful, he was very liked, he was very loved, he was the most popular royal after the queen. So he can do that. So he can rely on that. This is what he had in the past. Now, because it's negatively aspected, we see here that he has the tendency to need high reward and too fast. And because of that, he wanted out of the royal family, because in the royal family you cannot get that high reward and you cannot get it so fast. This is a card of someone who is over materialistic, and this is a card of someone who is losing interest too fast, and a card of someone who is petty and mediocre, and in a way needs approval of society too much. So these are the things that Harry needs to be very careful of, because he needs to focus on the positive sides of this card and not on the negative sides of this card. But this card is negatively aspected because we have the Five of Cups before it and the Three of Swords before. So it is negatively aspected. So he needs to really focus on the positive of this card, which is very difficult, but this is the only way for him to move forward. Okay, so what can we see for him overall moving forward? What is the total or overall? What is he moving towards? And we see strength, which is great in this respect, because strength is about finding the control that he needs inside himself. And this is a card that shows that moving forward, he will be able to find the control that he needs inside himself and stop relying on other people, and especially his wife. So this is actually, in a way, a little bit more positive, and I'm glad for it, because it shows that he is, it doesn't tell me when, but it does tell me that somewhere in the future, probably after Meghan leaves him, because I don't think that he has the strength to do that by himself, but he will be able to find that control that he needs within himself. And that means confidence, that means finding serenity, finding that courage, finding that strength, having that self-confidence, having that control, and feeling well. So this is a very positive card, and it ends up a very good cycle that we started with the world and we're ending with strength. And I think that it's great. So let's see what does the crystal ball has to say for Harry. Because at first I thought I will ask for a card for Andrew, but after this reading, I think I need a crystal ball for Harry. Maybe I'll take a card for both. So first I'll take a card for Harry and then one for Andrew. So let's start by clearing the deck. Okay, so what does the crystal ball has to say to Harry? What does the crystal ball has to say to Prince Harry? Okay, and the card that I'm getting is the universe is on it. Okay, so the universe is starting to work on releasing Harry from the bonds that are right now shackling him. Okay, so we did get the world card in the beginning of this tarot reading. Let's see what the crystal ball has to say to Andrew. So let's clear the deck. Okay, so crystal ball card for Prince Andrew, crystal ball card for Prince Andrew. And the crystal ball tells Andrew, need more info. Angel says, need more info. So this is interesting because probably because of everything that is connected with Jeffrey Epstein, with everything that happened with him, the angels need more information. They don't know what to tell Prince Andrew. So it's interesting because even the universe doesn't know what to tell him. Probably there is more information that needs to come out about all of that. Okay, this is it, and I hope you liked it. Merry Christmas to all of you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.